Hi, I'm Tyler Young. I'm a personal injury attorney in Utah, and I'm here to help you understand Utah injury law and what to do if you or somebody you love is injured as a result of somebody else's negligence. A question I get a lot, or a question I see, is what is my case worth? Or how do I determine the value of my case? So if you're out there poking around on the internet for how do I determine the value of my personal injury claim, let me tell you this. There used to be some ads on TV that ran that said, give us one call and we should be able to tell you what your case is worth in one phone call. With all due respect to the company that was running those ads, I disagree that a lawyer can tell you what your case is worth in one phone call. There might be a few exceptions to that, but most of the time there's just too much to consider to tell you the value of your case. So how do we get at the value of a case? What I need to do is fast forward to the very end of a case, because that's when the value of your case is determined, and then kind of come back and tell you some of the factors we look at to get at that value. So ultimately, if we can't settle your case with an insurance company, a judge or a jury determines the value of your case. They come up with a number. That's their verdict. And anything prior to that verdict, what we as attorneys and what insurance companies are trying to do is figure out what a jury would do in your case. So that's ultimately what we're looking at down the road, and it's all the factors a jury would consider in coming up with that value that we have to look at to determine the value of your case. Now, insurance companies are sophisticated, and they're not in business to pay out all the money they can. They're trying to save all the money they can. They use software programs to determine the value of your injury and your case. So they are using software to tell you what your injury is worth. As attorneys, we use experience and we use each other. We lean on other attorneys, we talk to one another, we give each other information about the value of a case and what we think a jury might do in your case to help you come up with the value. So what are some factors that a jury would consider? The easy one is fault. For example, fault. Who caused your injuries? Was your injury as a result of somebody else's negligence, or did you have a little fault in that? Because if you had a little bit of fault, that doesn't mean your claim is precluded. You can still make a claim. You just might have to take a little less when you settle. It's a factor that you need to consider when trying to determine whether or not to settle your case if an offer is made by the insurance company. Something else would be how much are your medical bills? How much are they going to be in the future? How strong are your expert witnesses in talking about what medical things you're going to need in the future? Do you have lost wages? Are you going to have lost wages in the future? We call that earning capacity sometimes. There are literally hundreds of factors. Let me see if I can rip a few more off here. Let's see. Are there photographs of your injuries? Pictures worth 1,000 words, right? But a lot of times people forget after a car wreck or something like this, if they've got a really ugly injury, they just don't think about taking a photograph of it. And so later on, we're trying to explain what that injury looked like. But if you have a photograph of it, sometimes that can actually help the value of your case. So that's just one of the factors that we look at. What kind of problems did this injury cause in your life? Are they a really huge deal, or are they not that big a deal? Are your injuries going to be permanent? Is this something you're going to have forever? Or is this something that is going to get better pretty quickly? All of those things may increase or decrease the value of your claim. And it's hard in one phone call to tell somebody what the value of the case is, because that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of factors. There are other factors like government limits on liability. Some cases, doesn't matter how bad the other party's actions were, doesn't matter how bad your injuries are, you are capped at the amount of damages that a jury can give you, or that after a jury verdict you can get. How much insurance money is available on the other side of the case? It's another factor. So there's so many factors that might apply in your case. It's hard to talk about them all in one quick little video here, and it would be hard to tell you the value of your case in one phone call. But if you've got questions about your case and you want to know what the factors might be in your case, and you've got some questions for me about Utah law and your injury claim, feel free to look me up at utahinjury.com, or you can email me to set up a time to chat, tyoung@utahinjury.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about the factors in your case and what we might be able to do for you. Thanks.